r/FunnyStories. Dads bragging about their sons, but they're actually gay. So 4 men are talking about how successful their sons are. So the first said, my son owns a car dealership and he just gave his friend a Ferrari. The second man said, my son owns an airline and he just gave his friend a private jet. The third said, my son owns a kingdom and he just gave his friend a castle. Then they asked the fourth man if his son was rich, and he said actually no, he's gay and he gets his stuff from his boyfriend sir. 3 then asked if he was ashamed of his son, and he said no, actually he just got a free Ferrari, private jet, and castle from his boyfriends. The time I destroyed a stall in the Walmart bathroom. So I'm with my family at Walmart. In the Midwest, or at least the areas I've lived in, Walmarts are pretty fucking big. So I'm way in the back where the hunting/outdoor supplies are at, and I suddenly hear nature's call. Now at the time, I didn't know there were employee bathrooms in the back areas of the store. I thought bathrooms were just at the front. So I'm like damn, and have to walk to the front from the back. While I'm walking, pressure is building, and the clock is rapidly nearing 0. I eventually am forced to waddle like a penguin to keep myself from making a mess of the entire store. I ask a kindly older employee, colder than my grandma in terms of age, where the bathroom is. Oh, right over there, darling. I thank her, and waddle my desperate, sweating ass over to the bathroom. Waddling like I've never waddled before or after, I make it to the bathroom. At this point, pressure is to the point I could pop the top off of an Abrams and send it into the stratosphere. I disrobe from the waist down and prepare to do my business, bending oh so slightly before I sat. I can't properly describe the sound. Kadash would be the best I can put into words. It was like dynamite in a lake. Slightly deafened, I slowly turned back, and dear God, the sight that I beheld. Everything is covered. I mean covered. The wall behind the toilet, the walls that make up the rest of the stall behind me, behind the toilet, the fucking ceiling is covered, and it's just a painting of sorrow. I cleaned myself up, I was ready to fun, as best I could, and quickly departed the stall. Of course, as luck would have it, a man roughly in his 50s comes into the bathroom. He smiles, greets me, and I greet him, before making my way to the door. Behind me I hear holy shit, and I run like my ass is on fire to find my family. Oh, that poor Walmart. That poor man. That poor janitor. I became the star in a Walmart customer service training video a while ago. I was a local Walmart, and I wanted to buy a glowfish, because one of mine had died. I have gotten fish there before, and I knew I had to find someone to help me, so I found a staff member, and asked for help. The salesperson said she would have to get someone trained to handle fish to help me. She then went on to explain you have to squirt the fish slime into the bag, write the SKU ash on the bag and wharton it. I thought, if she knew all of this, why couldn't she just help me? So I waited for 10 minutes, and then decided to find another person, who was also not trained, but she said she would get someone to help me. A minute later I heard a page overhead for help in the fish department, which I had not heard the first time. So I waited another 15 minutes, and got fed up. As I said, I have bought fish here before, and I knew what to do. So I opened the tank cover, got a bag, and filled it with water, and squirted in the anti-stress fish slime, and grabbed the fish I wanted. I even plucked out 2 dead fish, and recorded them in the dead fish log. Then I used the air hose to fill the bag with air, and tied it shut, wrote the SKU number on the bag for the checker, then wiped down the station, and went on my merry way. When I went to Walmart again, I needed to stop at customer service, and a guy I know was working there. He had this little smirk on his face, and he asked me if I was going to be getting any fish today. When I asked why, he told me that security had saved the video of me helping myself at the fish tanks, and that management had made everyone watch the video as an example of a customer service failure. I should have gotten paid. Social justice warrior calls me homophobic. Back in high school, I was dating another guy. So one day in class I sent him a gay meme. A girl in my class saw it and started yelling at me, calling me homophobic and how I should be ashamed of myself. Then later that same day I see her talking with my boyfriend about me being anti-progressive. I walk up and she starts yelling at me and expects my boyfriend to jump in. He just stands up and kisses me. She stopped shouting and just stared at us. My boyfriend explains to her that he likes gay memes and finds them funny. Then the shitstorm starts. She yells at both of us that we are homophobic and storms off. The next day word has gotten around that she called a gay couple homophobic. Nobody wants to talk to her anymore. She later left because of the backlash from the students on social media. In high school, I made up a book for a writing assignment because I was lazy and didn't feel like reading another full novel on top of my pleasure reading. So this was in 10th grade, and we had these things called book talks in my honors English class. Basically, you had to write a couple-page essay on a book you read. We had to read one every 2 weeks, I believe, and then present what the book was about and give your thoughts on it in front of the class. 1 week, I wasn't at all feeling like reading an extra book on top of my other assignments. So during study hall I made up a coming-of-age novel called The Skies of Wisconsin, written from the perspective of a dead girl who was murdered by her high school bullies for something really stupid I can't even remember. I made up the author and everything and gave this presentation, and not only did my teacher give me an A, but she pestered me for like 3 days asking if she could borrow my copy of it because she couldn't find it on Amazon and thought the story sounded amazing. I told her I found it at a used bookstore and had never heard of the author either, and that I'd give it to her once my friend was finished with it. What's a prostitute? My neighbor and his wife decided to take their 10-year-old son on a camping trip in the beautiful North Georgia mountains. The neighbor wanted to add some camping traditions to it by telling campfire stories at night. Well, he wasn't much of a storyteller, so he purchased a book off Amazon that purported to have good campfire stories for the whole family. So, night falls and the campfire is lit, and he opens up the book and reads. Sandra was a prostitute that was nursing a nasty hangover. The father stops reading as it hits him that this is not a child-friendly story. Yet, the ever-inquisitive 10-year-old son immediately looks at his mom and asks, "Mom, what's a prostitute?" The mom chooses her words carefully and replies, "Well, a prostitute is someone who gets paid to be your friend." To which the 10-year-old's eyes light up and exclaims, "I want to be a prostitute." The time I got my wisdom teeth removed and forgot English. I had been taking German classes for a few years before I got my wisdom teeth taken out, and I would practice a lot outside of class because it was fun, and I had other friends to speak German with as well. When I had to get my wisdom teeth taken out, I was worried about saying something offensive when I was on the anesthetic. However, those German classes saved my ass. I don't remember much. After I immediately woke up, my family said I was only speaking German, and the surgeon made a joke like, "Whoops, I must have pulled the wrong tooth." And then I yelled something in German. The first thing that I do remember is shortly after the surgery, when they took me out of the operating room and into a dark room with a nurse for me to recover for a bit before leaving. I could understand when she spoke English, but for some reason, I couldn't speak it, which made me extremely frustrated, since the nurse is laughing at me and trying to talk to me. This resulted in me saying a multitude of things. I kept yelling things in German like, "You stupid fat pig, eat my shit, suck my cock in your ass, if you don't get me food I'm going to shit my pants," among many other things that I said I was going to do to the Jews. The nurse kept laughing, completely unaware of what I was saying, and asked me how long I've been learning German, to which I simply replied shit and fell asleep. I woke up in the car and my mom asked me if I wanted a shake, and I kept yelling strawberry constantly, but she didn't understand and kept telling me she doesn't speak German, which was even more frustrating because I was so hungry. Eventually, she figured it out though, since bear sounds close enough to berry, and strawberry would have been the only berry I would yell. I got my shake, sat with the straw in my mouth with my eyes closed, savoring the deliciousness. I was oblivious to the fact that I was sucking the shake into my mouth and then just drooling it back out onto my shirt. My mom has some videos of me shouting things in the car somewhere, but they are hard for me to watch because of all the cringe. So, thank you German for hiding the fact that I sexually harassed a nurse while telling her the wonders of National Socialism. TL. Doctor, anesthetics turned me into an artsy. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that bell to turn on notifications, so you'll be sure to know when the next video comes out. Want to watch some more? check out my other videos. I really do appreciate everyone who helps make these videos possible. And as always, thanks for watching.